Hey everybody, time for Week 16 picks, starting with the Chargers at the Raiders. I think the Chargers are going to come out on top. San Diego's offense has been clicking very well as of late, and I think they're going to come out winning with a score of 17-10. Next, we have the Redskins going up against the Eagles on Saturday night. The Eagles have not been doing well at all this season. They've been really just doing underperforming offensively and defensively. And the Redskins have been doing very well against their division, and I think that's going to help them to a victory with a score of 20-10. Next, we have the undefeated Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Last week, the Atlanta Falcons got their first win in a long time. It's only their second win after starting the season 5-0. I do not think they'll be getting their third win after starting 5-0 because Carolina has been just doing so well the last few weeks, just dominating their opponents. And I think that's going to continue with a dominating victory with a score of 28-7. Next, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers home against the Bears. Jameis Winston has been doing it very well in his rookie season, having an underrated season in my opinion, because no one's really understanding how well he's doing historically. He's in, I think, top five rookie seasons in touchdown passes as well as passing yards. And since he's home, I think that's going to continue against a struggling Bears defense, and he's going to lead their team to victory with a score of 21-17. Next, we have the Steelers going up against the Ravens. The Steelers had an incredible comeback victory last week against the Denver Broncos. I don't think they're going to have to come back this week because they're playing the Ravens, who have been doing very lousy this season. And I think they're going to have a very big win with a score of 28-10. Next, we have the Cowboys taking on the Bills. The Cowboys are down to I think this is their fourth quarterback that's going to be starting a game this season. They've had Tony Romo, Brandon Wheaton start a game, Matt Castle, and now they're trying Kellen Moore to start. He did very well replacing Matt Castle last week. He had a very nice touchdown pass to Dez Bryant. He threw 3 interceptions, but it was still his first NFL action ever, and I think he's going to still have a few kinks to work through, and the Bills are going to come out on top of the score 14-10. Next, we have the Lions taking on the 49ers. The Lions have been doing very well after starting the season miserably, and the 49ers have just not been doing well at all this season. And I think the Lions are going to come out on top with a score of 20-13. Next, we have the Browns taking on the Chiefs. The Chiefs, after starting the season, I think it was 1-5. They've been on a tear. I think that means they're on a 6-game winning streak. Not more than a 6-game winning streak, an 8-game winning streak now, 9-5. And the Browns have just not been doing well. Johnny Manziel is starting, and he's been doing pretty well as the starter. But I just think the Chiefs at home will be too much for the Browns, and they're going to come out on top with a score of 24-14. Next, we have the Patriots taking on the Jets. If there's ever a time that the Jets need to beat the Patriots, that's right now. If they want to stay in the playoff talk, they need to win out and hope the Chiefs or Steelers lose at least once. And the only time the Jets really ever beat the Patriots is when they're at home. Yes, they haven't done it in a couple years, but they're a better team than they have the last couple seasons. But as much as I want them to, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it'll be a close game, but the Patriots will come out on top with a score of 17-14. Next, we have the Colts taking on the Dolphins. With Matt Hasselbeck hurt, I don't know if he's starting. If he isn't, that means Charlie Whitehurst is starting. And the Dolphins, I think their defense is good enough to beat Charlie Whitehurst, and they're going to come out on top with a score of 10-7. Next are the Texans taking on the Titans. If I was going to originally pick the Titans to win this, but with Marcus Mariota out and Zach Mettenberger not having won in a single NFL start in his career, and TJ Yates has been doing very well for the Texans in his entire career when he starts, and the Texans defense has been doing better the last few weeks. I think the Texans defense is going to really show up and really do well with at least 2 turnovers, and they're going to come out on top with a score of 17-7. Next, we have the Jaguars taking on the Saints. The Jaguars' offense has been one of the best offenses in the NFL the last few weeks, and I think that's going to continue with a great offensive putout against a very bad Saints defense, and they're going to win by a score of 24-17. Next, we have the Seahawks taking on the Rams. The Seahawks have been arguably the best team in the league the last about month and a half. Russell Wilson has been doing amazingly. He's thrown 19 touchdowns with 0 interceptions in those 5 games. And Doug Baldwin has 10 of his 13 touchdown catches, I think, in that 5 game stretch as well. And I think that run is going to continue with a win at a score of 28-10. Next, we have the Packers taking on the Cardinals. This game was also up in the air. I really did not know who to pick. Both are two of the best teams in the NFC, but I think with the Cardinals playing at home, even with the loss of Tyrann Mathieu for the year, I think them playing at home gives them the edge, and they're going to come out on top with a close game, winning a score by 21-20. Next, we have the Vikings taking on the Giants. The Giants have not been doing well. They haven't played a full game this entire season, basically. If every NFL game lasted about 58 minutes instead of 60, the Giants' record would be much different right now. But it's too bad for them. It's 60 minutes, and I think the Vikings are gonna come out on top after a full 60-minute win by a score of 17-7. And finally, we have the Bengals taking on the Broncos. AJ McCarron is getting the start for the Bengals, and Brock Osweiler is getting the start again for the Broncos. Brock Osweiler has not been doing well the last few weeks. He did very well in the first half last week, but in the second half, he really just died down after he got hurt in the first half and came back. And AJ McCarron, he did get the win last week, but it's going to be a tough game. It's going to pretty much be the battle of the defenses, and whichever defense cracks first is going to be the defense that loses. And I think that's going to be the Broncos defense, and the Bengals are going to come out on top of the score of 17-7. All right, those are my picks. I'll see you guys next week.